Okay, we have that set up. Now we gotta set up the pear. So we can create a atmospheric environment. Yeah, and then we can do something with this here, for example. Just gonna give it a little bit of more atmosphere. We're basically just playing around with the setup right now. You don't have to do any of this. You can just set up a pear on a table and, just maybe think about different types of backgrounds. You can buy these at any textile shops, draperies, and you can put it under the pear or just behind. So I basically have these curtain rails up here, and I can like put the drapery, so I can choose different backgrounds, different color backgrounds. But yeah, right now I have like a dark background, and I want to have like a certain contrast between this light pear against a darker background. It doesn't have to be black. It can be just whatever. It can be even lighter. It doesn't have to be dark. It can be a white background. So instead of this, using this drapery, you can just grab a board or like a piece of plywood or a cardboard or something, and just kind of like move it around, see what's happening with the pear, giving it more or less light. Sometimes it has more to do with what this is doing with the background than the pear itself. So if I do this, the pear is just like too dark. Basically, it's not paintable. It is, but you can't see the colors and the beautiful things about painting. So transfer paper is also good, because transfer paper will dim the light, and then it's going to create more atmosphere. So you don't need any of this. You don't need a shadow box. You can just put a pear, as I said, on the table. It's always good if it's a little higher, but since this is like a simple still life, you still want to have, when you're looking at a table, for example, it's always going to be lower than eye level. It's never going to be at the same level as the eye. So you always want to have, with composing still lifes, there's all sorts of cool things you can do to create something completely new, something that nobody did before. You can even make it eye level or above, but usually you want to make it a little lower to create that illusion that it's on a table, that it's set up on a table. So a pear is a good introduction to both still life and portraiture, because it has similar tones to what we have on our skin. It has these subtle greens, yellows. It has the reds, the cools, and the warms. So it's good for that, but it's also like a good introduction to just still lives in general. As we said, you don't need a shadow box. I just took it away. But it's always good. These two, so this stand and the pear, they have it's low contrast. There's not much going on. You're not going to have a nice enough setup. So I'm going to use the drapery again. Let's see if we can do something else. You can put it down. That's kind of interesting, I guess. That's cool. Okay, so basically the black cloth, one of the benefits of it is that it basically, the light always bounces around. So we have the source of the light, and it will bounce around, and it will go back, and it will go back into the shadows. As you can see, like, this is reflected light from my hand. The light is bouncing off my hand and getting into the shadows, and it's creating very, very light shadows. I mean, you can use that to your benefit as well. But like this, it's a lot darker, and it's easier for you to judge the shapes and create a nice painting. But yeah, you can even see like this. It's a lot lighter now. It's not as dark. It's the same as if I put my hand against it. So you can always use this to your advantage as well, just like a dark surface that's not very reflective. So you can just go around, set it up, find your ideal pose, let's say, gesture, and how you like it. You can also like make little sketches, but then again, it's such a small composition, you don't want to overthink it either. You just want to go for it. Set up something you like, and do not think about it too much. If you like it, if you prefer something that's kind of slightly slanted, you can put something behind, maybe like a little piece of kneaded eraser or something, and make it stand out. We can use this as well, so transfer paper with the shadow box would be preferable, but like if you can make it hang or something, it can be helpful. So basically it's more or less transparent, so it lets some light through, creates a softer surface. So, and then like it depends on how close you put it, like, or how far. You can play around with it. And let's say I want to see more of this. I want to create an atmospheric environment. I don't really care about what's going on in the background, so I'm just going to put this against the wall. So when I'm sight sizing, I don't really see any of the color of the actual wall. Something we also need to know before we start, if we're working in sight size, is that in order to have it life size, looking from the side, the canvas needs to go through the middle of the pear. So that, like right there in the middle. If we want to make it smaller than life size, then we're gonna pull the easel forward a little bit. I usually prefer painting things smaller, just slightly smaller. But with objects like this, which are really tiny anyway, it's not a bad idea to make it exactly life size. It's always easier for students to have the canvas as close to what they're painting. So we can even like pull this a little closer. Yeah. So the distance between the canvas and the object we're painting is less. And there's this little coincidence that we have this wooden part of the easel. It's bouncing light back into the shadow, but I actually kind of like it because of the background behind. So it kind of creates a little bit of a outline. But then again, it depends what you want. Do you want to have something that really like stands out, or do you want to have something that's more atmospheric, and then you're gonna have the highlights pulling it out, making it more three-dimensional. There again. So it just depends what you prefer. But it's always good when you do experiment to step back and take a look and see what you prefer. So like I'm looking at it like that, and then I'm just gonna put that back down. Okay, that's what I have. That's the effect. And then just try again and again. Some people really go far with their setup of this simple still life, and it's not bad. experiment as much as you can, because it will, you know, trying to be creative with such a simple thing is not an easy thing to do. Well, yeah, there's also this. We can just put it closer here to make it more atmospheric as well. We do want our pear to have certain highlights as well. What's going on here with that we have like a darker thing here and then this messy kind of looking white surface under.